One of the most promising potentials of quantum computing lies within the pharmaceutical industry. Companies in the field are already exploring how, with the computational power of quantum computers, drug discovery and trials can be reduced to a fraction, saving time and resources, but also human lives. It's my pleasure to invite on stage his head computer-aided drug design at Johnson & Johnson, Professor Herman van Vlijmen. He is the CEO of Qubit Pharma. Please welcome Robert Marino. And we also have his technical project and delivery manager at Pasqal. He will be the moderator of this session. Please welcome Jaap Kautz. Well, thank you to all three. Jaap, you're in charge of this, so good luck.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Herman and Robert, it's great to have you here on stage. It's really an honor to be able to share thoughts with you about how quantum computers can help the pharmaceutical industry. I know that both of you are involved already in projects where you're using quantum computers for drug discovery. So maybe let's start by letting you introduce us to the projects you're working on. Herman.
I'll go first. All right, thanks, Jaap. Yes, so I'm heading the computer-aided drug design team at J&J, and I noticed in Heather's presentation one of the type of people that's could benefit really from quantum computing are computational chemists, and that's exactly what I am. And so, just to give you a little sense of the kinds of work that we do and that we have been collaborating with Pasqal on is in very early stage drug discovery. So I'm active in the very early stages. Obviously, drug discovery and development is a long process. But at the very early stages, there is always the question, okay, what are interesting molecules? What could be the next drug out there? And the reality is the space of potential molecules is gigantic. It's estimated to be 10 to the 63rd power of different molecules that can actually be made. So that's really, really large. And we have to always find really good starting points to start our discovery process that we can later optimize these molecules. Now, in the beginning, what we want to do is we want to find really good starting points, which means basically virtually screening a very large set of molecules. And this is exactly the collaboration that we have, this is what we have done in the collaboration with Pasqal, where we, for instance, have a potential size of 1 billion molecules that we can predict certain properties of these molecules, but of course not for these super large numbers of molecules, because that's exactly where we hit the limits. And it's been said here before. At some point you hit the limit, and for us the limit is just the sheer number of molecules that are possible. So what we've, in the particular project that we've done with Pasqal, is that it basically consists of 2 steps. First of all, generate a machine learning model that can do fast predictions, but that's not enough, because with a fast prediction engine, you still have to filter out everything from this very large space. So it's the machine learning model combined with an optimization routine. This optimization routine is something that can quickly guide you towards the interesting chemical space of where the most interesting molecules are. And in the process, so we've looked at a variety of properties of molecules that are really important, including, for instance, certain types of toxicity or certain types of properties of, let's say, activity of compounds, or how the compounds behave in your body, how quickly they are excreted. These are all properties that we can predict on small sets of molecules. Now, building a machine learning from that and then optimizing it across this gigantic space to find which molecules do we want to make next, because that's an expensive step. You know, making the molecules is really expensive. So we, together with Pasqal, algorithms were developed that do something that's called quantum extremal learning, for which we have a publication in process. And this has really shown us that quantum computing can really do this, and we're looking very much forward to sort of expanding this and to apply it to real problems that we have in this particular step of discovery.
Thank you very much, Herman. I find it really amazing that you're already applying all these tools in your day-to-day use cases. Robert, how is that for you?
Yeah. As for ourselves, we tried to tackle the same challenge, so the discovery of novel molecules, but through another way that is preparing the system we want to address. So there is, of course, the part that is linked to the design of small molecules, what will be your drug eventually. But what you want to do is that small molecule should bind and modulate a protein in the human body, an RNA, or anything that is already lying in the human body. Having a clear understanding of the 3D structure and even 4D structure, so evolving over time of that protein that you want to modulate is key because it will impact the design of the small molecules. That protein is not only alone in space, but it interacts with its medium, and in the cells, the medium is water. So there are water molecules everywhere surrounding the protein, surrounding our RNA, DNA strands, and so on. So the challenge that we are trying to solve with Pasqal, and what we want to see is whether or not it's possible to improve the position of these water molecules into cavities thanks to dedicated algorithms that we develop on Pasqal's machine, improve the sampling of these structures, improve the sampling of the system. So there is also a preprint, soon a publication on that work, and we also filed 2 patent applications together.
Thank you very much. And what made you turn to quantum? What's the problem you're facing with classical methods?
Actually, it's not a problem, it's rather an opportunity. So we are all quantum enthusiasts. Our science is grounded into quantum chemistry, so we see a lot of applications of quantum into drug discovery and into our computational workflow. But just to give you an idea of why we do believe in quantum, so initially the software that we used, they were developed for single CPU technology. Then came multi-CPU, so we've been able to run it on 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 CPUs in parallel, and it could really start to be applied on real drug discovery problems and real biological systems. But it was still slow, so not possible for production. Then GPU came. We went from 10,000 CPU that was equal to 1 GPU, and massive gain of speed. So eventually we started to have production capabilities, and now we are running massively at multi-GPU, and thanks to that we go from simple targets such as protein to much more evolved targets such as RNAs, which are the new limits in drug discovery. And quantum for us is the next frontier. So how can we leverage that high-density computing power to address novel biological systems or novel types of targets?
I see. Now, Loïc just presented Pasqal's plans for the coming years. So there's this big promise of all the beautiful things quantum computing will do in the future. Do you think we only have advantages in the future, or is there already value for quantum computing today?
I would say today, the problems that we have, so what I just explained to you, what we do is basically an optimization problem, where you're having a very large space, you're looking for those molecules that are, that are in sort of the region of good chemistry that we want to address. I would say today, we can handle up to a certain level things quite well with classical computing, so classical machine learning, and after that, filtering of all the possibilities, maybe up to 1 billion or so, and then picking out the best possible molecules there. But the actual accessible chemical space, so I just said 1 billion, that's increasing very, very rapidly. I mean, there's already actual commercial companies out there that have a virtual library of potentially 30 billion molecules that they can synthesize and deliver to your door, not all 30 billion, of course, but whatever you pick, in a couple of months. So this space is increasing every year, and so we know that we're hitting the limit of classical computing. So we know that, certainly in a few years we won't be able to do this with classical computing, and we need some other solution if we really want to get those best starting points. Now, there's a couple of other things that make us really interested in doing this with quantum computing, or at least, seeing how quantum computing can handle this. And one of them is that these machine learning models often are based on second-order interactions between different parts of the molecule at most. And this is something that is a limitation, because there are higher-order interactions between different parts of molecules that and if you can take them into account, you will get better machine learning models, which will then give you better outcomes at the end. So that's something where quantum computing, I guess, could play will have a big advantage. The second thing that we have is, because this space is so gigantic, and we don't really have that many, we really don't have that much data points to sort of train the machine learning model to find those best, the optimal solutions. And this is another area where we think that quantum computing can really outperform classical computers by being able to create machine learning models that can have a higher performance with fewer data points that you give it in the beginning. So both of these elements are extremely relevant. And will become more relevant as the years go by, and that's not 10 years from now, but that's probably already next year, 2 years from now. So this is something that this is the reason why we wanted to explore the potential of quantum computing in this field, because we're a pharmaceutical company. We're not a quantum computing company with a big quantum computing expertise. So we really get a lot of value out of collaborating with a company that has the experts in algorithm development, and of course also in actually having the hardware, where we can really learn in this period what kinds of problems are accessible to quantum computing, and what are the best possible the best possible problems or challenges to access here. And this is something that's really important for us to learn, because it also will improve our own creativity of thinking, well, we don't just have this problem, we have many other things that require optimization, for instance. And this is a perfect type of collaboration where we can learn what types of problems can be basically defined as a quantum computing optimization problem. And we're learning a lot as we go on. So it's been a great couple of years so far, and we hope to extend this in years to come.
I totally agree with you, Herman. These are new capabilities and new opportunities to leverage quantum computing for drug discovery. What we are also interested in and looking forward is, let's imagine that we evaluate the impact of quantum computing based on 3 criteria. One is quality, that means accuracy of computation. The second is speed, and the third is computational cost, or even carbon footprint, because both are linked. If we fix one of these 3 criteria, can we improve the current workflow with quantum computers? So we are not looking for new applications or for for the quantum advantage, but something truly useful into our computational workflow that directly translates into business. And given the fact that we do use several millions of GPU hours a year, even if we only modify 1% or let's be ambitious 10%, that's already massive impact on what we do. So the good thing is new opportunities in terms of complexity, of challenges, of opportunities, but also improvement of the current workflows.
Thank you very much, both of you. So you already hinted a bit at this, but Herman, the examples you give are discussing billions of molecules, so that requires a lot of very fast computing. At the same time, in all these molecular simulations for drug discovery, accuracy is essential. What for you two has the focus? What's more important, accuracy or speed?
Do you want to go first?
I can try. Giving quickly a wrong answer won't lead you anywhere. So accuracy is key, is number one. That's what we do. That's what the reason when we were able to go below chemical accuracy, we knew we could launch the company. So accuracy is important. But then, regardless of how we tackle the problem, drug discovery is about big numbers, because you want to explore a lot of capabilities in parallel. So if you have the highest accuracy, but you can only do one computation a month or one per day, now you have a lot of experimental platforms that can design and test drugs very quickly, so you are not competitive. So accuracy is a must-have, but then you need speed, because it's not about a single shot. There is no magic bullet. You really want at the beginning to explore a lot of possibilities and make sure that you pick the right ones. And for that, you need also speed and throughput.
Yeah, I can only agree with that. You say accuracy or speed, but as you said, accuracy is the first one, because the predictions you make are leading to actual work that people have to do, and that work is, in this particular case, it's chemical synthesis, which is, you can make a few hundred molecules a week, let's say, in a particular, if you're working in a particular project. That's a lot of work for a lot of people, and if you want to tell people, hey, why don't you go and make these molecules, you want to make sure that your predictions are as accurate as possible. And the reality, of course, what I just mentioned in the beginning is that there's this gigantic molecular space which has always been, drug discovery projects are getting more difficult as time goes on, because we try to look at more difficult, more complicated diseases, which means more complicated protein targets quite often. So the speed is important, because if we do what we do today, which is, let's say, all classical, and you want to really find these optimal molecules to synthesize, you very rapidly are even using as many GPUs as you want. You will hit that limit where you're going to be spending weeks and weeks of time before you actually get the result, and that's too long. We kind of want to have this turnaround in days, maybe maximally a week, because that's sort of the turnaround time for chemists to do their work. So there's a very specific time constraint that we have in getting our results back. So speed is really important, but we cannot say, well, we do it with less accuracy, because then we tell the chemists to make the wrong compounds, which is also not what we want. So they're both important, which is, of course, makes the whole thing very difficult. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So both of you hinted at that you were using a large number of GPU hours to do all these calculations. We all know that this is very energy intensive. This costs a lot of energy to run these GPUs in these compute clusters. How is this viewed within your companies, and what would the effects of quantum computing be?
So there are two things. First is the absolute consumption. The second is the throughput per watt. And as I mentioned, so with one GPU, that was 5 years ago, more than 5 years ago, we were as good as 10,000 CPUs. So the density of computation is very high. So it has increased, and we see quantum as really a way also to improve massively that consumption. George mentioned that we can plug a computer into a kitchen, so that's you can't plug a DGX or these types because they would require much more computing power. And that's key for us because as we consume more and more, we want to reduce the footprints, and we want efficient computing. That's the key. So that for every watt that we burn, we want a lot of computation and maximize the value of computation. So clearly, that's one of the key aspects of interest for us with regard to quantum computing.
Yeah, I'll be short because I see our time is running out. So I would say there's two types, broadly, two types of calculations that are really important to us in computer-aided drug design. One of them is based on the machine learning that I just addressed, which is deals with these super large spaces, and we've been able to handle it up to now pretty much. But as I said, this will change in the coming years. So we really want to have, and this is when you can start scaling, but then it becomes the cost and the time and the energy consumption becomes too high. So really, there's a clear need there. And the second type of applications that we have are based on molecular simulations. And these are just very energy consumption heavy from the start. And they're slow, and this is also an area, we haven't really looked into this with the collaboration, but I can see a real benefit here if we can apply quantum computing to anything that can speed up molecular simulations. That would really make a huge difference there as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're starting to run out of time. Are there any final messages you want to give the audience about the future of quantum computing for the pharmaceutical industry?
I think what's exciting is that we will see a continuum. So today we do 100% classical, and quantum will go, percentage per percent into the computational workflow. So it's not zero and then a wall and the 100%, but it will start, and I think shorter than we expect.
Yeah, I just want to say that just like Pasqal needs to collaborate or work with other companies to bring in certain expertise to deliver the final product, that's the same for pharmaceuticals. As I said in the beginning, we cannot become a big quantum computing expertise center because that requires setting up a whole new department, etc. So it's so much beneficial for companies, for any company for that matter, to have a really productive collaboration with companies that know what they're doing and have access to good hardware and can advise us on what hardware to use, can think with us on what types of problems are accessible with quantum computing, and can actually also deliver the algorithms so that we can actually run them. So collaboration here is, to me, at least for us, a really important part.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for sharing your insights with us, and I'm looking forward to continuing our collaborations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.